Today, we'll speak with Barbara Gondim da Rocha about the firm's ability to sustain their volume litigation business. With 900 staff across Brazil, the firm's thinking is that they now have 900 offices across the country. Welcome to Law Firm Weekly. It's good to have you here. Barbara Gondim da Rocha is a lawyer and head of knowledge management and innovation at Rocha Marino e Salas. This is a leading corporate and litigation law firm with 12 offices and 900 legal professionals. Prior to her current role, she spent over 10 years handling cases in civil litigation, specializing in appeals to the highest courts in Brazil. Barbara, bem-vinda. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Shai. Obrigada. And thank you for speaking in Portuguese as well.
Oh my God, this is so little, and this is all that I know. Maybe obrigado is one more word that I'm going to remember at the end of our interview. But what I wanted to do is start by asking you a little bit about your firm. It's obviously very successful. I think it's well over 10 years old, maybe even longer than that, but maybe you can tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, our firm, the main office is based in Fortaleza, and it's in the northeast of Brazil, not in the big centers, Rio and São Paulo. And we have a major practice in the north and the northeast of the country. We work with litigation and consumer litigation and labor and employment litigation. We're currently handling over 250,000 claims for the larger corporations operating in Brazil in banking, telecom, retail, and other segments. And yeah, it's a big firm, 900 people. Now we have 900 offices because everybody is at home. And we're gonna go through this together, but it's basically it. And maybe we'll talk more about it during our conversation.
For sure. And I really love this idea that you just said that you actually have 900 offices. This is such a great way to think about working at a distance and what it really means at the end of the day to how the firm needs to change and work together. So this is great. Thank you for that. So you've mentioned that 95% of your business is volume litigation. And I think you're working with large financial institutions and others. In this context and how Brazil is or was and still is hit like everywhere else, with the situation we're in, what are the biggest challenges that you had to face in order to sustain that business?
Okay, so the first concern we had at our firm was to keep our people safe. We work with open offices, and we couldn't risk keeping 100, 200 people at the same floor on the same floor, and having the risk of having an internal pandemic, and we wouldn't. Our partners were very concerned about that. So in February, Brazil confirmed its first cases. And just like in the beginning of March, we're starting thinking about what we were going to do. We made sure that we had technology up and running to put everybody home, like at least our IT people told us so. And then we had we went with this project of sending people home as fast as possible. So before our local government started to enforce social distancing, we were already at home. The first thing, when the local governments began to enforce social distancing, we had to deal with non-uniform measures. So we have something here in Fortaleza where I live, and in São Paulo we have a different law or different regulation measures that were taken, and we needed a nationwide criteria. It was necessary, but we didn't have in the beginning. So we have a legal ops team in our KM sector of the firm. We have legal operations, and our team gathered all the information about every single court in the country, and we have 91 courts. We have 27 states and 91 different courts, 150 or so different technology systems for the courts. And so our legal ops teams gathered all the information and put it on a daily basis. They were always making it current and sending to the lawyers. We put the link for the lawyers to access from home and see what was going on in each court, because we have a huge amount of claims, 250,000. So we couldn't risk losing a deadline or going to a personal hearing where there was not gonna be one. And by March 19th, thankfully, the National Council of Justice saw this great mess that was going on because people had to deal with all the different deadlines and situations. So they decided to suspend all deadlines in judicial lawsuits as well as on-site activities. So we thought it would be 15 or 30 days, and it's still going on. Like we're just beginning to restart on-site activities on courts, but we're doing mainly virtual engagements. And one important thing for Brazil is that since 2006, we had an enactment of a law that started, it was the beginning of electronic processes. So we have the systems where people don't have to go to the court to file a case or to see the process, how it's
So
the
it was
situation
really very
unfolds.
timely that way, that there was this overlap between a process that was already on its way and what it is that you needed to do
Yeah, and
because of
the
this.
pandemic, yes, and the pandemic accelerated the process because we started having electronic process in 2006, but we have Brazil is a very litigious country, so we have more than 100 million lawsuits. So it wasn't easy to take all this legacy that we had that was on paper and make it virtual. So we have to deal for a long time when we're still dealing with electronic process and processes that are on paper, physical processes. So to access this physical process is not possible because we're not having on-site activities, and we have in this pandemic. And so since we have the electronic processes going on, it's good because it's already on our system. It's we're Brazilian lawyers and Brazilian law firms are already used to this. It's not something that we had to prepare or to invent or to make now. It was something that was already in our culture, like in the Brazilian system, not only my firm.
Now, in our conversation, you told me something quite interesting. You told me that the hearings that are now virtual is also an opportunity for some of your clients to easily drop by, whereby in the past that was harder because it was essentially physical hearings that happened all over Brazil. How is it changing how you're planning for those hearings?
Yeah, so one of the first things that we have to implement, like just in the beginning, was that we have 12 offices, and in these offices we have teams that mainly used to, in the past, they used to go to the court for in-person hearings, for talking to judges, and now it's stopped happening in person, and it's just started very in a very small. It's not the same amount of hearings that we have, just very shy in a way, and timid. Yeah, this is the word. Sorry, I was thinking about your name and I wanted to make a
I know,
relation
it's really
of
confusing,
timid.
but yeah, it's kind of a timid. It's a slower start.
Yeah,
I totally
yeah.
understand. Yeah.
So it was timid, but so we started, sorry. We began having these virtual hearings, and in the past, our clients are great big companies, and we have cases all over the country. And there's only so many hearings or so many cases that the internal team of our corporate clients they can follow. But they used to come to Fortaleza or to João Pessoa or to other cities where we have offices and go and see the performance of our lawyers during the hearing. But now they can only click on their computer and they can have access to these hearings. So one major thing that we had to do was train our lawyers that were going to be on the front line of these hearings or in performing in front of judges, because not only our clients can see it, but other law firms can see, other potential clients can see it. They have access. It's open. It's only if it's not it's a secret of justice case, but the cases are open to anyone who can attend. So it's a way we can showcase what we're doing internally. So it's a great opportunity for us. Joy, from the CEO from Utah, usually says that a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. So we're trying to get the most of it. We're trying to see these opportunities to showcase what we do best for our clients, for everyone in the community, in the legal community. So yeah, it's just we're on the spotlight now. Everyone can be seen, and it's scary, but it's also a good opportunity.
A good client of mine called something like that the law of unintended results. So here it is. There's more exposure, which basically means you need to be, even better at what you do.
Yeah.
But also it gives you the kind of exposure that is very positive. The last thing I'd like to talk to you is about the human factor. And from the conversation I had with you prior to this interview, I got a sense that your firm and your managing partner really, really cares about the people that works for the firm. Maybe you can talk a little bit about this human factor, and really what it means to your firm in the context of the biggest challenge that society is facing right now in Brazil and all over the world.
Yeah, we do really think very much of how to make our people more comfortable in this situation because we don't have our government is saying is we're having a political problem here in Brazil as well. So people are very insecure of their jobs, of their health, of their family, of the well-being of their loved ones. So we're doing our best to ensure that they feel comfortable. They are not afraid of losing their jobs. So, for example, we had these teams, they used to go to hearings, and then when they suspended, when the Council of Justice suspended the in-person hearings, people started to feel afraid of losing their jobs. So we kind of reinvented, we use these people to do other stuff that were important, like helping other teams and organizing our data. We kind of invested in organizing our home for the future, for what's to come. And we also had in last year we started a project that was called RMS, that stands for Rocha Maria Salles, RMS Talks. It would be easier for you, sorry to say the firm is RMS, but I had to say the whole name. And so we had these RMS talks to bring relevant content to our lawyers and our staff. And this year it was not secure to have gatherings, and then we just launched our first talk that was virtual. So it was just about emotions and letting people be comfortable and have the courage to ask for help, and for us to have difficult conversations about their situation, and maybe to help them thrive with us in this process. So this made people feel grateful for what the firm is doing, and then they're more engaged. I think that every cloud has a silver lining, as they say, and I guess this pandemic made us be closer. It increased our communications because we used to have video conference technology for over 5 6 years, but it was in a big conference room. It was a huge equipment and microphones on the table, and now we have to have video conferencing in every single one of our 900 offices with people connecting from their own computers. So it was easier because in the past we used to travel a lot to have on-site training and brainstorming, but it was not that often. So they only had access to the managing partner when the managing partner traveled to the local firm that we had, our local offices, not the main one. And even in the main one, there's not every day that you can talk to the partner. And now we just click, you send an email. It's everyone is at the same distance. I'm in Fortaleza and you're in Canada and you're at the same distance from my partner, managing partner, than anybody at the firm. So it's more like everybody has a voice. Everybody can be heard. You can just walk. You don't need to walk to the partner's office and knock on the door and ask for something or schedule a call with the secretary. You can just send an email, schedule a video conference call, and I think I asked people before our conversation to see, am I right? Is this what's happening? Are people really getting better? But we're doing surveys, regular surveys, to ask people, are you okay? Do you need anything? Is there anything we can do to improve your experience? Because we're not gonna go to the office until it's secure, until we have a vaccine or something like this, and we have to ensure the well-being of our people indefinitely,
And
even
this
when this goes by.
that's absolutely the bottom line. It's really interesting. I'm definitely hearing some common themes when I talk to firms right across the board. And this proximity, this closeness, even though physically people are distant, but the enhanced sense of being together in some of the firms that I've talked to, that I've interviewed, that's a common theme. Barbara, this was a great interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me and share some of the information that, well, you shared. Obrigado. Thank you.
Oh, you remember. Thank you so much.
And I hope to talk to you soon. Bye bye for now.
Bye bye.